First of all, say thank you to all of you for being here, and in particular, I want to thank the Cox family for inviting us into their home. It's a wonderful thing that you would do this for us. We're all very, very grateful. I think anytime you can visit a starter home like this, you know, it's if you're a conservative, you come into a home like this and you think to yourself, what a great country. People can work hard, they can save their money, they can create new jobs, and as a result they can live in a very nice home. If you're a liberal, you walk in here and you think, public housing for 40 families. And that's the beginning of the core difference. I actually have a fairly simple message. I'm going to try to deliver it very briefly and then take questions. You can carry this where you want to. But let me start with the simplest message. I want to challenge each of you to watch the national dialogue over the next few months and take the various commitments of liberal Democrats about taxes and send them to your accountant and ask your accountant if they get to do this between 2009 and 2013, how much more will I pay the U.S. government? And that will give you a simple, small economic indicator of what you have on the table. Now, remembering that when they get done raising your taxes enough, they will have slowed the economy, tipped us into a recession, killed jobs, increased unemployment. The number for you personally is less than what they're going to cost the country. But if each of you would just take a few minutes and think about this, we've been through liberalism at home and abroad once before. It was the Jimmy Carter years. It was the reaction to Watergate in Vietnam. It was 13% inflation, 22, the American embassy being burned in Pakistan, the Soviets being on offense everywhere in the world, and we ended up, some of you are old enough to remember, we ended up rationing gasoline so you could buy gasoline every other day depending on the license tag you had. And we've done this before. But the country, and it doesn't work because it is primarily out of touch with reality. Weakness in places like the Middle East begets aggression. It doesn't beget respect. High taxes beget unemployment and recession. They don't beget economic growth. And the fact is that more regulation, more litigation, and more taxation is the worst possible strategy if you want to compete with China. But that's what they believe in. So let me just start with it. I think we have, and I have a very simple model for the next few years. If Republicans campaign trying to explain the recent past, and if Republicans campaign trying to emphasize what's wrong with the Democrats, we will lose. We'll lose fully as badly as they lost in the Senate, where every incumbent who was in a close race got defeated. And the reason we'll lose is the American people gave us a shot starting in 1994, and they don't want to hear us being negative. But if we will talk about the future, if we will define clearly real solutions, then we will win. Because the American people know that their future and their children's future depends on solving some very big challenges. I think you can summarize those challenges in three things. First, defining and defending American civilization. Second, moving unionized, fossilized, bureaucratic government into productivity and quality in the 21st century. And third, recognizing that the world is dangerous and that America has an obligation to defend herself and her allies and to defeat her enemies. Now, if you take 3 goals, let me start with the first one. And I'll give you a simple test case. I am deeply committed to English being the official language of government. And here's a simple test case for you. According to Rasmussen, 85% of the American people believe English should be the official language of government. Now, Zogby says that's too high. According to Zogby, only 84% of the Americans. But let me make this case to you. How often have you seen Republicans try to defend a 30% issue when right here is an 85% issue? So in every state legislature, in every city council, in every county commission, and in Washington in the Congress, we should move this regularly. Because it begins to decide, to have the country say, okay, let me get this straight. You get it or you don't get it. Second example. We should defend against the courts any effort to block Americans from saying one nation under God as part of the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yes, I agree. Absolutely.
This happens to be a 91% position.